Jimmy Fingers, man. Thanks for stopping out, dude.
Good to see you.
40-year tattooer.
Yep.
Currently not really tattooing in a shop anymore.
Not much, no. No, I pretty much retired. I've got a nice little place on the Oregon coast, southern Oregon, and doing a lot of fishing and do a lot of drawing, mostly fishing, working on motorcycles.
Nice.
Pretty much, yeah.
So let's take it back to the beginning, though, man. Where'd you start out?
Larry Weisdyke, he got me down to Southern Fried Tattoo, where I met, F.E. Craig and Wondo and that whole crew down there. I started making needles there and working the shop, doing everything else. 1986 is when I did my first tattoo, and that was right there in that shop. Well, 86, I think, was the first year. 87's, people started showing up, and I got to meet some unbelievable people named Paul Rogers, Eric Inksmith, Louie Sciberras. I mean, people from all over, Snake, Gil, just numerous people. I couldn't even name them all, and that really got me. I was so, hooked bad, man, Plus, I was getting tattoos before I even met any of them people. Captain Jack up in North Jersey, getting tattoos by him, Carl Bernal. And Carl Bernal wound up in Florida, too, back then. But Carl Bernal was a really good tattooer in the 80s, and he did a lot of work on me. Larry and Debbie did a lot of work on me.
So you're an East Coast guy.
East Coast guy,
How'd you wind up on the West Coast?
I was down in Florida till 89, hanging around Daytona there, and then Hurricane Hugo hit in the Virgin Islands.
With much of the Caribbean reeling from the impact of Hurricane Hugo, no one has had time to get help to the 55,000 residents and tourists on beleaguered St. Croix.
And we went over there to work, and I wound up tattooing down there. So I was tattooing down there in 89, 90. Come to find out, the only person that was there before me was J.D. Crowe. He was telling me he was there prior to that. So I was down there tattooing, and I happened to throw a dart over my shoulder on a map I put on here when I was leaving the islands and hit Seattle. I'm like, oh, good, I've never been to the Northwest. Figured to go out there. 1995, I stopped in Sturgis, and I was working in Broken Spoke right across from Burt and Henry Goldfield. I was on my way, and then I told people I was looking for a job. Randy Adams came in. I almost went to Texas, and I didn't. And then Rusty Savage came in. So I went to Rusty Savage, Eugene, Oregon, where I met my wife and everything else, man.
Okay.
And I opened up a shop in Springfield. I worked for Mike Buttons for a while. Met some friends that lived in Wisconsin, and they were tight with Nolan. Nolan was a member of our club, too. I went back out to Wisconsin. I was working for Nolan, actually. I worked for Nolan for a year up at Acme Tattoo. Yeah, that was really something cool,
Yeah.
That was big deal.
Who would you say out of all those people that you worked with, was your biggest influence?
All of them, man. I did a tattoo and I posted on Facebook, and Wanda showed me, just doing the clouds on something or water hitting, the bottom of the rocks and the water's bubbling up. Just little things like that you see from somebody. And I did it on somebody. I posted a picture of the tattoo I did. And then Wando shot me a picture, Messenger, of a tattoo that he did 20-something years ago. It was the same bubbles.
Nice.
And it's just, stuff you see because you're with them people all the time, So it's always, it's good to get around with other people too,
Yeah.
But you always pick up something from somebody, man. I always thought a person that never even talked to other tattooers or was always by himself is always going to do the same, you know what I mean? Make the same mistakes, maybe should do it like this, It's always good to have a lot of people.
So I noticed today when I came in and I met you yesterday for the first time.
Yeah.
Today, I run into you this morning, and you're rocking a Sailor Eddie shirt.
Oh, yeah, Ed.
So how'd you wind up having a friendship with him?
We were in this group, the Grumpy Old Bikers, on Facebook or something like that. We were all in there and everything else. And,
okay.
Just correspond, with this person. Jeff the Jew, Jeff Cohen, he had people, and we were hooking up with them people, and that was probably the only good thing about Facebook, I think. It was you could hook up with people that you heard of.
Yeah.
I've always heard people talk about Jeff, Ernie Carafa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All these people,
And it's crazy, man, because outside of the tattooing world, a lot of people don't know who Ernie Carafa is.
Right.
But if they really knew who he was and the vast amount of area that he covered, because he's really the one that helped Don Ed Hardy out.
Yeah.
And everybody knows Ed Hardy.
Yep.
And, hooked him up with showing him how to get into publishing for doing the Tattoo Time. And
happy about that, huh?
And then also, you know, Ed basically said at one point in an interview, Ernie actually taught him how to price tattoos.
Yeah, Ernie was cool, man. I went down to his house in Florida, you know, when I was going down to the national conventions in Orlando.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was going down there, I'm shooting over seeing Ernie, you know.
Right.
Yeah, just sit around there and that cowboy there from Texas, you know, that's a good friend of Ernie's. I mean, just people like that they're like one of a kind, you know, sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get it. You know what I mean? Just like the old school guys, they get it, you know.
So why'd you stop?
I'm just, you know what? I'm just at the stage. I've been sitting in shops, man, my whole life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Black and white checkerboard my whole goddamn life, you know. And I didn't really. I'm still tattooing, you know, but I don't want to deal with
Regular customers.
Nah, I can't do it anymore.
So basically, you would say pretty much your whole 40 years you were doing street shop?
Street shops only. Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I worked the rail at Nolan's shop. I worked the rail at Rusty's shop in 95. Worked the rail at McButton's shop.
You know, did you have like a particular style, or were you just like typical street shop guy, whatever came in the door?
Whatever came in the door.
Right on, man.
Yeah, names, whatever. You know, it didn't matter. You know, I want a tree, get a tree. You know, I mean, whatever they want, that's what you do. And you got to be able to do it when they walk in the door, you know, when you're in a busy shop. I mean, Rusty's shop, when I first got there in 95, I mean, I couldn't believe the volume of people that were coming in that shop, you know, and I had like 10, 15 tattoos a day, you know.
Obviously, things have changed in those 40 years or whatever. What would you say to somebody, you know, new generation that wants to break into this? What would your advice be?
I work with somebody that's already been doing it, you know, an established person. It would be nice if somebody would do that, but they're not doing that. I mean, they're buying a kit on, you know, wherever they can get it, you know.
Yeah.
And they're going right online, Google everything, you know. How to take a hood off a car, I'll do that, you know. I mean, it's other, you know, I mean, it's nothing like it used to. It used to be magic and real secretive.
Right.
You know, you walk into a shop like, hey, where do you get your plant off? You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're not going to tell you anything.
Who would you say is your favorite tattoo artist?
Well, there's so many, man. I mean, unfortunately, we just lost Greg James, you know. And,
Shocking.
That's sad, you know. I mean, there's so many people that are not with us anymore. And that's what life in general. We're getting older, man, so we're losing more people, and it's horrible. But, like, guys are like Greg James. I mean, he's a gentleman. Did beautiful, clean tattoos. Dana Brunson's another one.
Yeah.
He's a gentleman. He does clean, beautiful tattoos. I mean, there's just so many people out there, you know. But, yeah, I like big, bold, colorful stuff. Man,
right on.
You know, and, you know, old school stuff, pretty much, you know.
Do you have an Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, it's Jimmy Fingers. You just look me up on that. I have Sandhill Tattoo. I just, you know, closed that shop. That shop was beautiful, man, you know. My shop before that was nice, right across the street, conveniently located.
Nice.
Yeah. It was,
Where was Sandhill at?
Across the street from my other shop, Black River Tattoo.
Yeah. Where was that? What's it?
Black River Falls, Wisconsin. 18 years I was in them.
Okay.
Yeah, plain bolted the buildings up and just redid them, turned them into tattoo shops, man.
Right on.
Middle of the cornfield, middle of nowheres, and I was, you know, busy as all hell.
Do you miss tattooing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed the way it was, though. We had a lot of fun, man. And it was more like a brotherhood type thing, you know what I mean? Everybody's like, you know, oh, this guy's, you know, everybody knew everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now,
you know, it's like,
I think that's one of the pluses of this convention here.
Yeah.
Is it's small.
Right.
Handpicked.
Yeah.
And everybody is the same mentality.
Yeah, and, you know, and I'm sure there's like all these new people too got the same thing. You know what I mean? You know, they're going through the same thing. They're just doing differently. So everything's different, man.
Yeah.
Everything's easy. I mean, everything's easy to get. Where do you get ink? You get ink right there. You know? I mean, where do you get needles at? Well, you get needles right there. You know, I mean, somebody's already making your needles for you. Somebody's already mixing your inks. You know, somebody's already building your machine.
Yeah, the mentality's changed. But I think what I'm starting to see now is there are some younger generation that are starting to want to understand the history.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas I would say a couple years ago, and I don't know if that was because of the influx of new artists, they didn't give a shit.
No.
Now it seems like there's this, okay, man. So you know,
there's a lot of me stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
I know what you're saying.
That's why I always like to ask, you know, older generation guys, like, you know, advice on getting in or whatever. Sometimes a lot of the older guys are like, don't.
Yeah, leave it alone.
So, you know, I think it's different now, but I'm also starting to see street shops are starting to make their way back.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Where they got away from that for a bit.
Yeah, but there's so many of them.
That's the other problem.
I mean, there's so many shops. I mean, they're chasing the same nickel. I mean, you got 5 shops on one street.
Right.
You know.
And the thing is that, you know, right now with the economy the way it is, right? Tattooing is a luxury item.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You don't need a tattoo.
No.
So it's like
motorcycle business is going through the same thing right now.
Well, Harley Davidson's kind of screwing themselves.
Well, yeah, they are, but
that's a whole different subject.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of things that just
they, you know, they built their back on the whole MC culture,
right,
and then turned it on them.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
So, you know, man, like,
yeah, that was a weird thing.
Just there's other examples, but
yeah,
we talk about that on our live stream.
Yeah,
where like Doc Martens, you know, tried to break themselves away from the skinhead culture.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the racist skinhead culture.
Right.
I'm talking about the original skinheads.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Because, well, you got to tell people out there.
Yeah. Well, there's tattoo culture in that, too. That's pretty
exactly.
Cool. I mean, that's a whole nother...
So, but the thing is they wanted to separate themselves from that.
Right.
Just like Harley Davidson wanted to separate themselves from the MC culture.
Yeah.
And I was getting worried that tattooing was starting to do that. Where it was like old guys, young guys. But that's starting to disappear now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good people here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Everybody's, you know... I see Bert, you know, 85 years old, rides 900 miles to come up there on a motorcycle.
I can't believe it, man.
And I'm sitting there whining because my knees hurt in the trunk. You know, I'm like, wow, man. You know,
I hear you.
Yeah,
but,
what a nice guy, man. He's another one.
I appreciate you hanging out, man.
Yeah,
taking the time today.
Too, man,
you know, it's a pleasure to meet you, dude.
Yeah, good to meet you too.
I can't wait to show this to Sailor Eddie.
Yeah, he'll love it.
He's gonna lose it.
Got his shirt on.
And one more time, so if anybody wants to get in touch with you, Jimmy Fingers.
Yeah, just on Instagram, Jimmy Fingers on Instagram. Yep.
And on Facebook.
Yep, Facebook. Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
Nice talking.
Thanks, bro.
Appreciate you doing it.
Cool.
Yep.